What is something an ex gave you that you still have? She sewed a sweater for my childhood teddy bear, because the one he originally had was lost in the laundry, and there is no way I would ever get rid of that. Came here for STDs, got wholesome instead. Seriously, I expected a ton of herpes jokes. I was wondering how far down I would have to go to find something wholesome. Instead, I had to look for something that wasn't. I'm calling this thread a win and checking out. Too late. You now have brain herpes. My ex-wife was a big part of me getting off drugs and alcohol, so to me she gave me sobriety. You gave yourself sobriety. Congrats, she may have been the cheerleader, but you did it. I know what you're trying to say, and it is very sweet and supportive, but trust me, whoever this ex-wife of his is, she was more than a cheerleader. Dating an addict is excruciating and it can ruin you. Trust me, I was the addict. Also, when they get sober, they usually leave you. You suffer through the hard times, but once they've gotten sober, they want to move on to a new chapter, which doesn't include you because you were a part of the old chapter. This has never happened to me, but I've seen it happen with every recovered addict I know. Yup, this is a common thread with many men too, unfortunately. Every girl I know has stuck with a man through his rock bottom, whether that's unemployment, addiction, poverty, loss only to be dumped when he got better, because he wanted to move on and not be reminded of his darkest hour. On the other hand, most women I know who were with a guy through the woman's darkest times have stayed because that valued that sort of loyalty. A fucking 800-pound piano and I don't play and it's in the way, and does anyone want a free piano? Pianos are almost always free. It's the moving it part that's expensive. My parents bought me a baby grand piano for my quinceanera. Played it for years, but then I moved out and didn't have the space to keep it. My parents had no use for it, so my wealthy cousins in Central America offered to take it and pay for the shipping, obviously, so it could stay in the family. It cost about $6,000 to get it shipped there, and that was back in the 2010s. Back in the 2010s, you say that like it was a long time ago. It was a lifetime ago in inflation years. PTSD, STD. I still need PT. I need some TP for your bunghole. Trust issues. Thanks a lot, Nancy. Meh, better than herpes. You can only get herpes once. Trust issues you can get over and over. And like herpes, you can give people trust issues for rest of their lives. The gift that keeps on giving. Most people don't realize that they have all damaged their exes for their future relationships. I do wonder. I've noticed that most of my exes haven't had any long-term partners after our relationship ended. I often wonder if that's on me and if I've broken them beyond repair. It's not a nice thing to think about. P.S. It could also be that after me all other persons seemed dull. I wonder. Still have a great wallet from 14 years ago that my ex gave me. Probably the only thoughtful thing she ever did. Is it a Coach by chance? I'm not a Coach type of dude, but AGF gave me one 15 years and I just replaced. Best damn wallet I've ever owned. You got it down, man. It's a Coach wallet. Barely even shows a bit of wear and tear after 14. Years ago, my sister received a pricey purse as a gift from her husband. She had wanted it for a very long time. Then after 10 years or so advised me to never buy really nice bags BC they won't wear out, so you can't justify buying a new one. She was one thrifty girl, that one. I used to agree with this wholeheartedly, but high-end brands' quality has really dropped off in recent years. This birthday card, it was just very sweet and well written. We broke up on great terms, but I read that card when I'm down. Just found an old birthday card from an ex in an old pile of papers last night. You can feel how true those words were meant at the time. Such weird sensation of melancholy appreciation. I was telling a friend once about how strongly I felt about a high school boyfriend and how I definitely didn't know what love was. He said puppy love is real to the puppies, and I think about that all the time. Even if the emotions I felt at 15 were extreme exaggerations, they were real to me at the time. That's a great way to put it. I had a relationship where by the end we weren't treating each other very well, but I still keep a letter he wrote me early on. It was full of hope for us. When I want to hate him, I read it to remember we were just two flawed people doing our best. Damn, that's good. That hit deep. My ex and I started out really great and tried to patch the relationship multiple times, but he wrote me one letter at the end saying he'd always have love for me, and as long as I'm happy with or without him, he'll be happy. The dress she was wearing when I met her. We dated for 3 years, and when we broke up, I was heartbroken further to see that in the bag of clothes she was gonna donate was that dress. She looked radiant in it that day, and I wasn't entirely ready to let go. And beknownst to her, I took the dress from the bag and hid it away as a memento. We stopped talking for 3 years. There were instances in the early stages of grief where I would look at it and cry, but I wanted to remember her for the good times we shared together. Fast forward to a couple years ago, and she reaches out to apologize. By then, I was obviously long over her. It was a clean and honest breakup, so I told her there was nothing to apologize for. We hang out at my place one day, and I revealed to her that I kept the dress. The look of surprise on her face, man, and she almost began crying as she hugged me. Later that day, she told me that she told her cousin about how I kept the dress. This particular cousin didn't like me. So when my ex said she awed at it and said that I was a sweet guy, that felt nice. My ex and I send each other memes every now and then. I love this girl to death platonically, and would fight tooth and nail for her safety and well-being. She deserves to live a good life. Cheers to the folks who ended things on good terms, and an extra beer to those who couldn't. I still have a hat my ex gave me, about a year after we broke up amicably. As we decided not to pursue long distance, I posted a picture of me and my sister at Ponce City Market in Atlanta, where I was wearing that hat, and she subsequently blocked me on every social media immediately after. Maybe it made her sad to see it and she blocked you, so she wouldn't have to see things that made her sad anymore. IDK. But blocking doesn't always mean anger. True? I had to do the same with a girl who I was falling hard and fast for like 6 or 7 years ago. It just stung my heart to see her posts and her smile and think about how things could have been, even though we had plenty of valid reasons to not be together. She was so great. Such a fantastic soul, good human-like. The type of person who would leave random notes of encouragement for people on the subway, just because we held similar interests and hobbies. And there were an eerie degree of odd coincidences we shared. We both lived in the same apartment building, albeit 10 years apart. Both played the same character on an old indie game to an extreme degree. Holla at all you others who LVL 100 did Blue Knight in Castle Crashers. And our dads both died on the same day, 1 year apart. There were a bunch more, but those were the biggies. Anywho, I wasn't in a good place personally when we met, and she was starting to do awesome things with her own life, and we just weren't meant to be. I still ponder about her once in a while, and hope just know she's doing well. So I had a girl who was dating someone else, but would use my label maker to type words of encouragement for me and place them around my space. We ended up dating. We broke up. Those fucking stickers are still around. She printed out at least 30 of them and stuck them around my place. DONT place stickers. So many psychological issues removing them. There are a few I can't bring myself to remove. It's bullshit. We still hang a bit and I legit wish her all the best. But damn it, that have a nice day. On my door crushes me. Amazing love letters. She was a beautiful writer and person. I haven't looked at them in a long time, but I like that I have them as proof that I could be loved like that. Same here. My ex wrote in a card that I was someone worth building a life for, even though when he gave it to me, we were in a very rough patch and both knew it wouldn't last. For someone to say that in the midst of it all speaks volumes on his character. It's really refreshing to hear of people who are on good terms with their ex. I was with mine for many years after we broke up, though we've lost touch now, and were good friends for a long time. I considered him to be an important person in my life, even if we outgrew each other and went our separate ways. I'm trying to do this with my XRN. We spent nearly a decade together. It would be a shame to just go not contact after sharing such a portion of life together. Do it. I think as long as there was no cheating involved, it's totally doable. My ex would even come to me for advice on new GFS, etc. Lol. We were cool. The knowledge of what red flags look like. The reddest of the red flags. The redditiest of Reddit flags. (1976) Black Ibanez Les Paul custom copy and a kid. Which do you love more? Kidding. I would never make you choose. But I notice you wrote the guitar first. Guitar costs more than a baby goat. I was drinking water while reading this and nearly choked lol. A beautiful guitar I never learned to play. I gave it to my son and he's keeping the tradition alive by not learning either. This guitar, it is a family heirloom. It is now your time to inherit it. But you must never play it. But why, mother? Is it valuable? No. Our family has vowed to never learn to play the guitar. This is basically the plot of Coco, except his family didn't know about the guitar. My mattress. His was brand new and way better than mine, so we scrapped it. When he cheated and I kicked his ass out, he let me keep it. I mean, he definitely sucks. But I got a bomb-ass mattress upgrade and paid nothing. Great win. Mattresses are expensive. A stuffed animal, only because I can't find it in me at all to throw away a stuffed animal. It has feelings. I understand. Same. I collect stuffed animals and I have every one I've been given by all my exes, 'cause they weren't the ones who fucked up, the humans were. A really beautiful wooden topographical map of a lake near my hometown. I love maps. It fits my decor style perfectly. Plus he only visited my hometown like 3 times in the 2 years we were together, so it reminds me of home more than anything. What a unique, thoughtful gift. I'm not on fond terms with my ex, but she bought me an Arctic seal plushie from the New England Aquarium back when we were in middle school. We dated throughout middle school, early high school. I named him Seal Phantom Hive. Props if you get the pun, and he became something of a comfort item to me. Even after we broke up, I still have him to this day. That is such a middle school name for a plushie. Source, watched it in middle school. My dog, he's outlasted several relationships, lol, such a good boy. Same. We got her as a very tiny puppy when we got engaged. Ex kicked her out with me when the dog was about 6. She loved that dog more than anything, but apparently not enough to ask to see her in the 2 years since. She only lives 5 minutes up the road, in her old house. In the end, I was left with the right bitch. Directions on how to make her come. Sadly, directions are non-transferable to other women. Turns out the controls are different for everyone. When I was 16 and still learning to shave, my GEF would tease me about missing the spot behind my jawir. I still refer to it as Amanda's spot, and always make a conscious effort to remember to shave there. This is somewhat interesting, stands out in this thread for me.